So during this fall satsang period, I'm going to take up what is a small section of the Ramayana, more specifically the Ramcharit Manas of Tulsidas, and a small section from the last chapter of this text, which is the Uttarkand. And in the Uttarkand, there is this discussion that centers around 7 important questions that were asked of the student to the teacher. They're called the 7 questions of Garuda. And so each satsang I will deal with one or more of these questions depending on how our time goes. So in the text, this conversation is, as I said, is presented as occurring between Garuda, who is of course, the Vahana of Vishnu, the vehicle of Vishnu, and a crow. The crow's name is Kak Bhushundi. So I don't want you to be distracted too much by the fact that in the text is a conversation between an eagle and a crow. I think this fact itself has great symbolic meaning in this sense. And clearly this is the intent of the author, Tulsidas. The crow is considered to be among the lowliest of the birds, very common, it's everywhere. In our yards also, we have crows, and usually, people will drive them away. So the crow is considered among the lowliest of birds. And of course, you have the magnificent Garuda, the vehicle of Vishnu. So normally you would expect in this kind of context that the crow would be the student and Garuda would be the teacher. But Tulsidas reverses it. And the crow is the teacher, Garuda is the student. Right? So the point is obvious. In seeking knowledge, one does not look at the teacher's appearance, the teacher's history, the teacher's origin, the circumstances of the teacher's birth. What matters above all is the teacher's wisdom, the teacher's integrity, the teacher's character. There is a very beautiful verse in the Rig Veda, one line of the Rig Veda that some of you might be familiar with. Ano bhadra kritavo yantu vishvataha. Ano bhadra kritavo yantu vishvataha. Ano bhadra. May noble teachings come to us. May noble teachings come to us. Yantu vishvataha. From everywhere, from all directions, and we may say also here, from all persons. May we learn, maybe we be open to learning from all, and to receiving wisdom from any direction that it comes. It's a powerful Vedic text about open-mindedness. If I ever founded a college, I'm probably unlikely to do so at this stage, this would be my motto. This would be the college motto. Ano bhadra kritavo yantu vishvataha. May wisdom come to us from all directions. What a beautiful motto it would be for a university. It's ideal. It's short, it's sweet, it's profound. It could be up at the gate of the institution. When you enter here, you enter with a receptivity to knowledge from all sources, from everywhere. So today I'm going to focus on the first question, which is, he puts it in this way, Pratamahi kahahu natamati dhira sabate durlabha kavana sharira. So this is my first question, he says, Pratamahi. Sabate durlabha kavana sharira. What is the most durlabha? What is the most difficult? We have so many life forms in the universe. What is the most difficult of all forms to have, to be blessed to be blessed with. And Garuda answers, Naratana samanahi kavani hudehi jiva charachara jatata jehi naraka swarga upavarga nisheni jnana viraga bhagati shubhadeni. So he answers, as you probably expect, that the human body, the human form, is the most excellent of all forms, is the one that is most desirable by all beings. So I want to explore a little bit. He speaks of it as a ladder, but he uses three important terms that I want to focus upon in this discussion this morning. This is not unusual in our tradition. You know, we can turn to so many texts and you will find that the teachers remind us of the value of human existence, the significance of human birth. The great teacher Shankara, in his poem Viveka Chudamani, he has this wonderful verse at the very beginning of his text. He says, Durlabham trayame vaitat daivanugraha hetukam manushyatvam mumukshutvam mahapurusha samsrayaha. Durlabham. This is very difficult, these three. Trayame vaitat. Deva anugraha. These three things are the blessings of God, the Deva. To be human. Manushyatvam. To have a human birth. Mumukshutvam. To have a desire for knowledge or wisdom. Not all human beings are passionate about learning. And to find good teachers. Mumukshutvam, manushyatvam, mumukshutvam, mahapurusha samsaya. And to find good, committed teachers. So we must admit, that we don't usually wake up on mornings, perhaps some of us do, appreciative of this gift of human existence, with gratitude for the fact that I am a human being in this universe, or view the fact that of one's humanity as a gift or as a blessing. It's very easy to take for granted, and when we take it for granted on ourselves, of course we take others for granted also. So the Ramayana and so many texts keep on coming back to this. Don't take it for granted. It's something very special. It's a gift. It's a blessing that you are a human being. So because we take it for granted, it's important in our sacred text remind us repeatedly what an extraordinary, what a special opportunity it is. So it is in this context that we must see these words. I think there is another reason why the texts keep reminding us about the special quality of being human. We always think of blessings as things we do not already have, as something added on to life. Like the clothes we wear, something that we gain at some point in time later on. We never think of the fact of being human, of our humanity itself, as a primary blessing, as the most important gift. That existence itself is a blessing. My existence, your existence. And without necessarily adding anything, the fact of being human itself is wonderful. It's a great gift. So if human existence is, as Shankara tells us in his poem, it's Deva Anugraha. It's a blessing, a special gift of the divine. What is this gift for? Normally, when you receive a gift, you think of the purpose. Or sometimes even the person who gives you a gift gives it with some intent in mind, some purpose in mind. So the next question is, what is the gift of human existence meant for? What is it that defines our humanity in this distinctive, special way? Why is it a blessing? And Tulsidas mentions three important words here. Before looking at those words, I thought as I read this text, given the kind of culture in which we find ourselves, the cultural environment in which we exist, when we look at the Hindu texts, and when these texts define what is it that really constitutes the meaning of human life, what the text does not say is as important as what it says. So the positive blessings of being human are as significant as the goals not mentioned by Tulsidas. So, for example, we know in the Hindu tradition wealth is important. It's not something to be treated as trivial. We need wealth to flourish as human beings. But Tulsidas does not mention wealth here as one of the blessings of human existence. Power is important. We all want to be in control of our lives. It's not something to be trivialized. But Tulsidas does not list it as one of the blessings of human existence. But he uses three important words to describe the meaning of this gift. And the three words are jnana, vairagya, and bhakti. Jnana, vairagya, bhagati, shubhadeni. These are the good things of our lives. These are what this gift is meant for. So I want to offer a comment on each of these words and then comment also on the interrelationship among these. First, jnana, knowledge. So clearly, being human is a gift for the acquisition of knowledge, wisdom. Our capacity for acquiring knowledge is unique among all species. Our progress as a species is significantly a consequence of our capacity for reason, for rational inquiry, for experimentation, the use of knowledge to solve problems. Just think about it in the fields of medicine, engineering, agriculture, economics, information technology, and other fields. There is evidence of using knowledge to solve problems among other species, but in a very minimal way. Our capacity exceeds every other species in our ability to gain knowledge and to utilize knowledge to solve problems. We have also devised means and methods of preserving and transmitting knowledge across generations, and we continue to refine and to improve upon those methods, and all of that is very important to the flourishing of our species. And I want to include also the humanities and the social sciences and the fine arts. All of these are important forms of knowledge. Mundaka Upanishad speaks of both para and apara vidya, higher and lower knowledge. Here we include all forms of knowledge. Jnana, jnana shubha. Jnana is good, Tulsidas says. The human birth is a door to wisdom, to learning, and this is shubha. This is good. This is the good gift, shubhadeni, from the divine. But he doesn't stop with this capacity for knowledge. After jnana, or knowledge, he mentions, and this of course, he's writing in a dialect. And for him it's viraga, in Sanskrit is vairagya or viraga. The word is the same. So V means without. And the raga here you can translate as greed. Viraga, without greed. Greed. So as a species, we are blessed with the capacity for knowledge, but knowledge has not always been utilized by us for the well-being and the flourishing of all beings. So we need something more. It's not enough to speak about knowledge. Right? When we are victims of greed, raga, as opposed to viraga, then knowledge is corrupted. It is used to exploit. It is used for exploitative purposes. Used to exploit other beings, other species, the resources of our planet for selfish purposes. And this is our predicament today. Today our sustainability, the sustainability of our planet is threatened because of human greed. Because of raga, not viraga. We have used our knowledge to exploit the planet to such extent that its very integrity is being threatened. So knowledge alone is not enough. The combination of knowledge and greed is toxic. It's a toxic combination. It leads to an efficiency of exploitation that we have not yet seen before in history. The scientists, I mean, look at so many examples. The scientists who worked for the Nazi regime were knowledgeable people. They were highly trained in the best German universities. But knowledge was put to the service of debt. Over 6 million people died because they developed efficient means of extermination. So knowledge became toxic in this case. So Tulsidas, by putting these words side by side, jnana viraga, jnana vairagya, is a very important combination. He reminds us that knowledge is a blessing, but only when it is used for human well-being, when it is used for the overcoming of suffering, when it is used for solving deep human problems. So this is why, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna employs Arjuna twice, loka sangrahamevapi sampashyam kartumarhasi. Arjuna, in everything that you do, in all choices that you make, in the application of your knowledge, loka sangraham. Consider the common good. Consider the common good. Knowledge must serve the common good. So Arjuna is asked, sampashyan, carefully, sampashyan, not simply passion, sampashyan, carefully consider the common good in everything that you do and how you use your knowledge. So it is not enough to speak about knowledge. We need to ask, to what end? To what purpose? We need to always qualify to that question. To what end is it going to be used? What do you seek to accomplish through your knowledge? So human life is a gift because of our capacity for knowledge, our ability to use knowledge with vairagya, without greed, for the well-being of others, for the loka sangraha, for the common good. So viraga is, in a sense, it's like a himsa. Himsa is injury, non-injury. So viraga is like, raga is greed, viraga is freedom from greed. And so Tulsidas comes to his third word, bhakti. So we need something positive, because one can settle and say, look, I've freed myself from greed, or I don't hurt others. I practice ahimsa. Now, but what is the positive side of it? What is the positive side? Because you could live in solitude and be viraga without greed. You could live in solitude and be ahimsa. You can live in solitude and not care about anyone else and say, I'm free from greed and I am non-violent. So he comes and he gives us a very positive word as a third blessing of human life. And this is, he used the word, again, bhagati, which in Sanskrit is bhakti. Love. 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 Knowledge and freedom from greed are not enough. We need something, the most positive. We need something positive. We need to articulate a positive purpose. for human existence. And human life is a blessing because it offers us positively the opportunity to grow in love. Jnana, Vairagya, and third is Bhakti. To grow and to act from love. Knowledge, even religious knowledge, is empty without love. So Bhakti is of course the Sanskrit word that we use for love of God. But in our tradition, the love of God is misunderstood if it does not include the love of every being. We have to always, whenever we speak of Bhakti, we may speak of it as the love of God, but we always have to add, and that includes the love of creation. That includes the love of every being. We always need to use this word Bhakti in this inclusive way. The love of God is the love of the creation. It's the love of every human being in his or her unique preciousness and individuality. So the positive side of freedom from greed is love. And love is the highest purpose to which you can put knowledge. It's the ultimate, the highest purpose to which you can put the knowledge that you have. You know, in the spirit of the Vedic verse that I cited for you, Ano Bhadra Kritavo Yantu Vishwataha. Let noble teachings come to us from every side, from everyone. I want to share with you just one text from another tradition, this time Christian tradition. It's a very famous text about love from the chapter known as Corinthians. I'm reading. If I have the gift of prophecy, I can tell the future, and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have faith, Shraddha, that can move mountains, but I do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all that I possess to the poor, and give over my body to hardship, that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. So clearly, you know, this text is responding to a form of religious life which lacked love and calling the hearers to the centrality of love. Even if you have the ability to tell the future, and you can fathom all the mysteries and all knowledge, and you have faith that can move mountains, but you lack love, then you are nothing. There is a very beautiful story in the Srimad Bhagavatam I want to share with you this morning. Perhaps some of you have heard this story. It's the story of Rantideva. Rantideva, who was a great devotee of Lord Vishnu. And Rantideva, in the Bhagavatam, he undertook a fast for 48 days, went without food, to gain knowledge, spiritual knowledge and power. To empower himself, he undertook this fast. And we assume that his fast was successful. The text doesn't really tell us. But on the morning after fasting for 48 days, Rantideva received some water and food. He was given water and food with milk and ghee. A very nice meal. And so he sat with his family, just about to eat, after 48 days of fasting for knowledge and for power. And just as he sat, a priest came, unexpectedly arrived, And because, he came as a guest, stopped at the home, he was Atithi, came at Rantideva's home. He received the priest with faith and with respect, and offered him, in traditional Hindu hospitality, some of the food he had. So the priest gratefully ate his portion and he went on his way. So after that, he divided the remaining food with his relatives, and they were about to eat again. And then a laborer arrived, and said he was hungry. And Rantideva also gave him a share of his food. So the food the portions were getting smaller. And as soon as the laborer left, another guest arrived, interestingly, this time with a dog. Accompanied his dog, and he says, my dog and I, we are hungry. Extremely hungry. Please give us something to eat. And so Rantideva offered the remaining food to the dog, and the dog owner, who had come also as his guest with great respect. And thereafter, only the cup of water remained. At least some of the water in the cup. And when he was just about to drink, according to the Bhagavatam, a Chandala came, an untouchable, an outcast came, and said, King, I am Rantideva, I am low-born, but I am thirsty. And so aggrieved at hearing the words of this poor and fatigued, untouchable Rantideva, gave him his water. And now he was without food, but in the Bhagavatam he prays. The next verse is Rantideva's prayer. And what a prayer it was. What a prayer Rantideva said after he had shared or given all of his food in love to those who came at his home. So his prayer is, Na kamaye aham gatim ishwarat param. Ashta siddhi yuktam apurnar bhavam va. He says, God, Ishvara, I will not pray to you. After he has fasted for 48 days for power and wealth, and now he has had the experience of these people coming, he says, I will not pray to you now for Ashta Siddhi. Siddhi means, these powers of seeing into the future, seeing into the past. They are listed in the Yoga Shastras, Ashta Siddhi. These great powers, I will not, Ashta Siddhi, I will not pray to you. I no longer want the Ashta Siddhis. Or even Apunar Bhavam. Nor am I praying to you so that I can be free from birth, free from rebirth. I no longer want these powers, nor am I praying to you to be free from birth, for moksha. Artim prapadye akhila deha bhajam antastito yena bhavanti adukha. This is my prayer. Allow me to stay among living beings who suffer, who I want, who are afflicted. Allow me to stay and live in the midst of beings who suffer, artim, who are in need. Akhila Deha Bhajan, who are afflicted in body, so that they may be, so I may be the instrument of their freedom from suffering. So in the Bhagavata, these guests who came to him, the priest, the laborer, the man with the dog, the untouchable, the text says, these were all different forms of God who came to see, to test him. But the ultimate test of Rantideva was to see if he understood love. To see if in spite of all these powers he prayed for, his heart had opened up in love. And this prayer was the validation that this was indeed so. That his powers would have been meaningless in the eyes of the divine if his heart had not opened up into love. And his love, because he was a great devotee of Vishnu, so Vishnu wanted to understand, did his love include? Was it a love that included the love of others, especially those who are in need? Especially those who are in need. And by that time, he had lost his desire for power, because he came to understand the supremacy of love as a great blessing, as a great gift. What a powerful story in Bhagavatam. How much is there in this, that the text preserves this, the text kept this story, is because, something important we should learn from Rantideva and his generosity. So the blessing of our humanity is in our capacity for knowledge, for generosity, and for love. I know, and I was thinking as I contemplated this text, that if this is true of us as individuals, if this is the meaning of our humanity is a great gift, that we should grow in wisdom, we should grow in generosity, we should most importantly grow in love, and the love for those who are in need and those who suffer. Then this has to be true also for a community. It has to be true also for a nation. But the greatness of a nation, what is it that makes a nation great? It has to be its wisdom, its generosity, its love. What is it that makes America great? Growth in knowledge, growth in generosity, jnana, vairagya, growth in love, especially for those who, as in the case of Rantideva, who came at his door in need. I just, because this is an unusual story, but it's not the only story in the text like this. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, but I'll conclude with one short story, because it reminded me, especially the guest with the dog. The dog represents all the non-human life forms, the whole world of nature and creation. It's so interesting that the dog also came. In the Mahabharata, it ends. Mahabharata has a very sad ending, because the point of it is, war is always suffering. People die, and war doesn't lead to good ends. There is always suffering. So the Mahabharata war is over. The great war is over. We've read of the catastrophic consequences on all sides. At the end of the text, the only survivors are the 5 Pandavas and Draupadi. And they're proceeding to the Himalayas, hoping to get to Swarga, or heaven. And as they walk, from the battlefield on Kurukshetra north to the Himalayas, they were joined along the way by a dog. A stray dog started to follow them on this journey. And one by one, They are overcome. It's a long journey after a long war, so they are exhausted, they are tired. And one by one, they are overcome by exhaustion and they die along the way. The last to survive was Yudhishthira, Dharmaraja. And the dog. The dog keeps following him. So Yudhishthira walked and he almost reached, the peak of the Himalayas with the dog behind him, when suddenly, in the text, this great chariot, heavenly chariot, comes and for him, inviting him to ascend now. He completed the journey, the doors of heaven are open for him. And he was assured that all of your brothers and Draupadi, they are there already. You come now and join them. You've completed this journey. And then Yudhishthira said to Indra, who is the Lord of heaven, what about my dog? He asks for the dog. This dog who's followed me faithfully, my companion throughout this long journey, I want this dog to come with me also. So he pleaded with Indra to allow the stray dog, his companion on this long journey, to enter heaven with him. And he makes interesting arguments. It's a debate between Indra and Yudhishthira about this dog. It's really fascinating discussion. He argues that freedom from cruelty, Andrish Shamsya, is the most important of the virtues. And if I go into heaven without this dog, it will be an act of cruelty on my part. I will be violating dharma if this animal doesn't come with me. Indra tries to dissuade him by asking if he's willing to give up. Your brothers are there. Are you willing to give up? Will you give up the pleasures of heaven? Come, leave the dog behind. You can't imagine what life in heaven is. So he tries to dissuade him from bringing this dog. And they go back and forth in the text, debating whether the dog should come into heaven or not. Yudhishthira says it's impossible. I will not go. It's impossible for me to do that which is unrighteous. And in this case, it is unrighteous that I will leave this dog behind, even for the greatest pleasures of the heavenly world. Indra reminds him that persons with dogs are never allowed into heaven. He will not be judged as being cruel if he left the dog behind, but he doesn't relent. He's not willing, even for the sake of entering heaven, to leave this animal behind. He says, I cannot leave a being, a suffering being. And eventually, of course, as you can guess, Indra relented. He enters heaven and he's praised for his compassion. Anukroshena chalena sarvabhuteshu bharata. He stood out as someone who had compassion for everyone, including the animal. Dog lovers love this story. I don't think that there is in any other sacred text of the world a story about a dog like this, about an animal. It's a really profound story. It could easily have ended, why introduce this dog following them? You could say they made their way to heaven and the story ended there. But something had to be taught. Something had to be taught. You just feel like Rantideva had to be tested. And the ultimate test is your love. And in this case, not only love for fellow human, but love for all life. For all life. Sarvabhuteshu. Sarvabhuteshu anukroshena. Absence of hostility. Freedom from hostility towards any being. So I will conclude there. And just what I want you to take This is what makes us human. Capacity for knowledge, but not knowledge alone. Knowledge which has the purpose of generosity, viraga, and finally, the ultimate purpose of being human is to be loving, to grow in love. This is the blessing. We should use our lives for these three purposes. So tomorrow, next time we meet, is very well connected. I'm glad I finished with the story of Rantideva, because the next question he asks is, what is the greatest suffering? The answer will surprise you. But this will be for our next talk. Thank you very much. If you have a quick question or comment, if not, we will just close with our prayer. Yes, please.
Is this the crow teaching Garuda?
Yes. This is a section, yes. The crow is Kak Kushundi and the student is Garuda. And it comes in Uttarakhand.
Oh.
But it's Ramcharit Manas of Tulsidas. And 7 questions of Garuda.
This is the first question.
This is the first question, yeah. So there are 6 more to come. The second one is, what is the greatest suffering?
Yes.
And our professor of economics would actually like the answer. You will, promise you. Because you think he would talk about moksha and all of that as the greatest suffering. But I would keep it as a surprise.
There's a, if I may add, in the Dravidian tradition, in the Marva Trivaimana, the principal attribute of the Almighty that the Marva wants everybody to adopt is compassion.
Yes.
Love.
Yes.
And so the same theme shows up in other texts also.
Yes.
That love is most.
Absolutely. And I think, our challenge today, this is why I ended also with saying, these must become criteria not only for our individual lives, but also for our communal or community lives. Because I think our challenge is, how do we convert these also into social virtues? From the sphere of the individual relationship into the social, which is even as Gandhi in his own time took ahimsa and transformed it into a social virtue. Similarly, all of these we have to transform into what I call social virtues or social ethics. This is the sphere we need to move into. Yes.
I was reading an article in the Star Tribune yesterday about this couple that goes into South Minneapolis, so there's all these heroin addicts and every day, and they give them new needles. And I'm saying, are they helping them, or are they just helping them to, continue on bad, unhealthy habits? So, how would this view that action?
Of course, it's a controversial question. I think that at one level, because they are using needles that are likely to be infected and which lead to the spread of diseases, giving them, clean needles has that effect of protecting them from disease. But if you stop there, I think it would be short-sighted. That should be also combined with some sort of availability of treatment and other resources to help to wean them away from the use of from addiction. In other words, if you just provide them needles, clean needles, then you never address what is the underlying cause. But as a first step, as an immediate step, while they are being weaned, they're not immediately going to give up the use of these drugs. But it's compassionate to at least protect them from diseases while there's a larger campaign or plan to help them. That's how I would think about it. But I will not condemn the distribution of clean needles if it's part of a long-term treatment plan. Yes.
So I have a question regarding, so in the quest for the love for all, let's say there's even in ancient time, Mahabharata and Ramayana, then there is a conflict, and the divide was so long, that eventually, they were showdown, How do you justify that in the current times, when we live in the current times, is issues which are not resolved, how do we balance the love for all versus, engage, bring to closer?
Well, of course, it's the kind of test case for those of us who speak of ahimsa and the question is whether are there circumstances in which violence may be justified. This is exactly what you are asking. We just celebrated the 150th anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi's birth. I know this is another question you asked him, but I'll just preface what I want to say with reference to him. Because he was not only about non-violence, he was about resistance. His non-violence was a method of resistance. He was not a weak man. That's why he called it Satyagraha, the force of truth. The force of truth, resistance. We must remember that. Secondly, he said that it's better to be someone who's willing to use himsa than to be a coward. I prefer to use violence over cowardice. He was always worried about being a coward. But the third point, I think, is that clearly, even in the Mahabharata, let's say, you want to make a case that there may be circumstances in which violence is justified. You have to be sure it's a last resort. Even with Mahabharata, all other options must completely be. And today, in our modern world, we don't necessarily do that. We don't necessarily explore all the options before we are ready to become violent. We haven't really, as Gandhi reminded us, we haven't really explored fully the potential that is there in non-violence. But I'm willing to say, which is like, just what theory, and that there may be circumstances, but we have to be sure. And there, if you look at the Mahabharata, there are lots of criteria that must be satisfied before you come to that point. But, and my last point is, which is also Gandhi, even when you have to come to that point, let us say, you should learn to do it without hating the other. Even when you have no choice. He showed that you can resist people, you can fight them very firmly without hate. And I told a story when I gave a talk about, who the General Smuts, who sent him to prison in South Africa. When he went into prison, he learned to make leather slippers. He used his time to make leather slippers. And from prison, he sent a pair of sandals to General Smuts as a gift. General Smuts kept them, he wore them regularly on his farm in Pretoria. When Gandhi turned 70 years old, Smuts sent the sandals back to him as a gift and as a birthday present with a note. And that note, the last line is really very interesting. He said, I appreciated the fact that you fought against me, but I know that you never hated me. That's a wonderful testimony. That few people who fight against others can say, you fought me, but I know that you did not hate me.
I would like to answer your question. The purpose of life is to know Aham Atma Sarva Bhuteshu. Now, once you realize this, where is the conflict? But we are far, far away from even accepting this statement. Forget about realizing. Aham Atma Sarva Bhuteshu.
So I think we will close now. Since given the theme of our talk, please join me. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. May all be happy. Sarve Santu Niramaya. May all be free from affliction. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. May all see what is good. May no one suffer. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. Sarve Santu Niramaya. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. coming to satsang this morning, for your questions and comments. And again, may Durga Ma bless you, bless your sons and daughters, your grandsons and granddaughters, your family this Navratri. We'll continue next month.
Thank you.
And thanks to Anish playing such wonderful.
It was wonderful. Yeah, we enjoyed.
I'm very happy that this morning I have with me one of my students. He just started high school, Anish Ramlal. You remember I used to have our sons play and then they all left and went off to college. So I have a young son again who is very dear to us and who is a student of Tabla and who will come when he just started high school, but he will come when it's possible to join us for satsang. So welcome Anish. And Anish is here with his mom and dad and his sisters. So it's Navratri, and today I want to begin with a few verses from the Mahatmya. Then we will sing two bhajans in praise of Goddess Divine Mother, and then we'll have a discussion. सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणी नमोस्तुते या देवी सर्वभूतेषु विष्णुमायेति शब्दिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः या देवी सर्वभूतेषु चेतनेति दीयते नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शक्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शान्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शान्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः या देवी सर्वभूतेषु श्रद्धारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शान्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः या देवी सर्वभूतेषु दयारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः या देवी सर्वभूतेषु मातृरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः Soon मन में रहो तुम सबके, तुमसे आशा है। दर्शन हो माँ तेरी, सबकी अभिलाषा है। मन में रहो तुम सबके, तुमसे आशा है। क्या मेरा क्या उसका, ये अपना पराया क्या। सर ज्योति जला करके, रोशन करो जग सारा, रोशन करो जग सारा। विनती सुनो सबकी, कल्याण करो जग का। सराह दिखा करके, धार करो दुर्गा। संसार तो माया है, कभी धूप कभी छाया है। एक दिन उसे जाना है, जो भी आया है। संसार तो माया है, कभी धूप कभी छाया है। एक दिन उसे जाना है, जो भी आया है। क्या रंग है जीवन का, क्या रूप है मानव का। तुम ज्ञान बढ़ा करके, पुकार करो दुर्गा, पुकार करो दुर्गा। तुम विनती सुनो सबकी, कल्याण करो जग का। सराह दिखा करके, पुकार करो दुर्गा, पुकार करो दुर्गा। हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे मां। हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे मां। हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां, अज्ञानता से हमें तार
Ramcharit